Okay, I'm going to show how I reload some 9mm. First thing is we have the um, primer container. So you have to drop that, open this up. Then you will take your primers and slide this out of here if it does. There we go. And I got 50 of them. So I'll just drop these in there carefully. And you shake this until they're all sitting the right way, which is face the part that goes into the casing or the case is up. Then you close it and you lock it up to on. Okay, then come over to and see if I can do this. Okay, set that in this groove so that it swings freely. Okay, now first thing we'll do is you have to understand, okay, that this shell holder, and I'll give you an example of this. The shell holder comes like this. Okay, blank, and you got to screw all your dies in, each one that you're going to be using. Okay, and in this situation, you have your. Let me see if I can get in place here. Okay, this is your sizing die, so you'll put your shell in here in the shell holder. Okay, it goes up, sizes it. Once it sizes, you put on a primer. Then you drop it down, rotates. You bring it back up, gets powder that you've already set. Then you come back down, rotates. You put a bullet tip on there, put it into the. It seats the bullet to the right depth that you already have programmed, and then this one here taper crimps it. Now all these dies have to be set up properly individually so that you have it exactly right, and that you'll have to either use your book or some measurements with your micrometer or something to get this thing set up just right. Then and only then can you actually do what I'm going to be doing now. So what I do is I grab a brass. Okay, this has been cleaned, all right, through the tumbler. So you'll put your brass in there, seat it all the way. Okay, then you go up, and if it's not quite right, you have to move it. Okay, now it's down. Then you take this and you snap that over the thing, and you can see the primers in there. Okay, now when you drop this back down, this part here hits, and you have to go and push it forward, the handle forward. That will now seat the primer, and you can see the primer is seated. Okay, then when you come back up, okay, it will drop the powder. It drops the powder, and then you bring it back down. You will make sure that the powder is the right amount. If you're not sure, you will have to put it in your thing and weigh it. But I've been doing these, so now I know that it's right. It's within the threshold that I feel safe. Then you take your tip. It doesn't have to be perfect. You go back up, seats the bullet into the right length, and then you come back down and you push down. That crimps. So there is a made bullet. Okay, and I'll put it in the 9mm to make sure it's flush. And now I know that that one is good to go. Now I'm going to speed up the process a little bit. You can see how it goes. So you go up, it's in, primer in, down, seat the primer, powder, come down, make sure you have the right amount of powder, tip, good to go. Unfortunately, sometimes if you kind of slow down or whatever, the rotation of this thing gets a little bit off. And you'll have to do it a little better by yourself. I don't know why. Probably because parts of it are made out of plastic and it wears out. It's not like a Dillon 500 or one of those really good presses that cost way more money. But I can do usually about 50 rounds in 30 minutes. And so if you wanted to do a box of ammo to get to the range, shoot 100 rounds off, you can do this and it won't take you too long. And every once in a while I'll drop it in, make sure I have it flush, just to make sure that everything's going a little bit right. Or if I ever feel like I'm in doubt, you have to make sure that you have your primer in there, and I'm having problems with that a little bit. This is not a perfect machine by any stretch of imagination. And I have this, I have a shell setup for 45 ACP. I have another one of them for 40, Smith & Wesson 40. But I got to get some brass for that. I don't have enough to even do. Very easy to get confused. Very easy to lose your rhythm. Very easy to make a mistake. Very easy. It's almost ridiculously easy. And it's very difficult for me. This is a new way of doing it for me. I usually use a single stage, and so this is new, and I really don't have the experience yet that I should have. But I do know that it's very simple to screw this up. And powder wise, I'll be honest, you know, I've been using Winchester 231. See, that one's a little tight, so because it's a little tighter, I'll check it to make sure that's fine. But I've been using this powder 231, and I have a certain amount still in there, and I'll finish that off. But what I'll do is I'm not going to add any more in there right now. See how I do. Sometimes you gotta make sure you get them in there, and force them a little bit, and that's why a video of this nature really doesn't do this justice. You have to do hands-on to get a feel for this thing, so you have an idea what you're actually doing here. I mean, there's a lot to this reloading. And I don't know if it's, I'm pretty sure factory stuff is more than good enough for me. And I'm not doing anything other than making the chintziest type of ammo I can. I've measured stuff. It's not super accurate, probably. I mean, I would say the powder's close to being the same every single throw. But every time I go down and come back up with that powder, I'm not weighing it. I mean, it could be 5.4, 5.2, 5.5, anything like that. And I would assume that makes a difference for accuracy. Now, if you're shooting, like I plan to be shooting steel at 15 yards, 20 yards, maybe 20, I don't think that matters at all. My ammo usually functions through the gun. And that's important. If you don't do it right, it won't move the slide properly. So it generally always does. It usually ejects them no problem. I don't get stovepipes. I don't have jams. And that's all that really matters. I don't really care about accuracy that much for this stuff. So that's the key to it, is at least have it set up so that all the brass that you put through this thing and all the bullets you make will work in your gun and not have any major problems. So we've been working for a little while here. I'm going to end this video. But, we made, in a matter of time, let me see, 5, 10, maybe 20 bullets. Okay, so that's basically how this works. All right, thanks for watching. All right, this is, since I last loaded the 9mm, a little bit has changed. So happened that I switched over to the 45 ACP. I lost this setup for large primers and the large primer inserter. I must have put them someplace, or I threw them away. So to make a long story short, after searching and searching, I gave up. And I'm gonna say that I must have thrown them away, threw them away. So I went on eBay, and I was able to replace the small and the large pistol primer, or large primers, and this large inserter, and it cost me about $35 maybe, give or take, for that, this part here, okay, and this part, with actually both of them. So happens, it's kind of blessing in disguise. These are new version of what I had before. And what I had before, you saw in the last video, was a black one here. The stem has been changed, and this part has been changed. What a difference it is now to load with this new part. It is making it very easy. So what we got here, and I'm going to show you, we're going to do 45 ACP. I got 45 ACP brass, and they've been tumbled, but they haven't, nothing else has been done with them. Okay, so we'll insert, ram it up. Now watch how easy this is. You just go and boom, done. I haven't had one fall out on me. I have had zero problems with this new version of this. From what I understand on another YouTuber, that this is the third version of the classic turret primer system. And I'll be honest with you, so far this has been goof proof. And I'm kind of glad I did lose the other one, because this is making this a heck of a lot easier to do. And then you bring it down, put the primer in, bring her up, come on down. Now I'm using 700X powder, 4 grains or 4.1 grains with a 200 grain semi-wad cutter lead bullet. And I am just going nuts right now doing these guys. They're coming out great. Checking the pistol cartridge, make sure that it goes in the chamber okay. If it's fine, then I know it's going to work in any gun. And I'll have to say that so far I am actually enjoying this now. Before, with this thing being the old version, I struggled. I really did. I mean, I would have to play around. I just go like, boom. I'm not really trying, and it's working. So I guess the engineers at Lee finally got their crap straight and made this work, because what an improvement for me. And I don't know if other people, let me tell you guys, if you've got one of these old these classic turrets, they do work pretty good. Once you set up all the dies, you'll go through each one to make sure you have it just where you want it, and you make sure you have the right powder amount. Once you do all that, you can produce bullets fairly quickly, not like a Dillon probably, or even more expensive stuff. But for like the $300 or so that you pay for this setup, minus the shell holders and the dies, it's actually, and you have to buy a riser. You have to buy a riser so that you can get around all this stuff. But trust me when I tell you, this thing actually does work. It does what it's supposed to do. And it's right now with this being like this, I mean, before I'd have to like really try hard not to fumble a primer, hit the floor, lose it, or I just couldn't get it to, work. I'd have to keep playing with it. I mean, what a pain in the neck. Now, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. So, 45 ACP has been a real blessing, a real nice thing right now. I got, I don't know if you can see, a tubbo bucket of 45. It's in a potato salad container, because, to be honest with you, I'm making so many bullets, I kind of ran out of, containers. You know what? I wonder where the hell. Uh-oh. Oh, crap. Did I forget that one? Well, if one doesn't fit, that's because I missed a stage talking to you people. And that happens. You really got to pay attention. You don't realize how possible it is to screw up if you're not paying attention. And it'd probably chamber anyway, but if it doesn't, now we know why. And doing real well with this. You want to do is when you come down, you want to make sure you're looking in the case there to make sure. I'll be honest with you, 4 grains of 700X is not a lot of powder. I'll show you. What you'll do is you'll set up this die in your shell holder, the plate, and then what you'll do is you'll set it up just like they tell you to do, so that it pops the primer and resizes the case. Okay? Then this step here is what you'll have to do to put the primer in. So you seat the primer. Now you'll come up and you'll check this. So you'll take this amount of powder, and I'll show you. You just put a little bit of this stuff. or you put the whole contents, I'm sorry, into the case, and you can see it's really almost nothing. And I'll put it on there. Oh, hold on a second. Let me do that again. Had to tear it. Okay. See, if you take it off, this thing is about 140 grains, I guess. But you'll put it on, and then you'll have to hit on this one here, tare, T-A-R-E, and then you'll get to 0. Wait till the thing is done blinking. Okay. Now you can take it off, and I'll come back over and run powder through. See, you can do it, keep it in this stage here, and just run powder through. Then I'll put the powder in the pan. Okay, and it's not very much. And then when I put it over here, it should read, and it's not reading 4. Maybe it changed a little bit. At least it's not as accurate as you might want. I've been doing pretty good though, getting good readings. Might have been just a fluke. So let's try it again. Once in a while it just changes. Okay. So put it in the powder. In the pan here. See what I got. Maybe it changed. Nope. See, there I go. That one through 3.8. I don't know why. But I'm getting 4.1. I'm getting 4.1. I don't know if you can see that or not. But that's what I want to charge. Anywhere. See, I'm okay. The way I'm looking at it is I have a little bit of leeway. You know, if it doesn't quite get me the perfect charge, then I'm still okay. As long as it's within a grain or so. I'm going to dump that in there. And now I could go through the rest of it, put her back in, bring her down, get my lead, put her in there, the tip, drive it to the right length. And so you'll check for length. Okay, after you do that one, you take your meter here and you'll check to make sure it's within the way you want it. Okay, and with lead or cheap bullets, sometimes you get variations. It's very hard to be 100% consistent when it comes to this cheap stuff. I mean, I'm getting like 2.0, is it 2 point, no, 2 point, I'm sorry, 1.249 or whatever it is, okay, 8. 2.48. So I'm in variations there. So it's 2 point, not 2. What am I doing? Okay. So it's 1.248. Okay. And the next one might be a little off, but you can change that on the depth of it. Okay. So it does make a difference. And then this one here is the taper crimp. You just have to put a little bit of pressure on that mouth right here, so that just the mouth, so that when you drop it in the check gauge thing, it's flush on top, bullet's not sticking out past the bottom. You can see that, and then you know that this round will fit every 45 ACP gun there is. Okay, so that's basically it. You start all over again with a new piece of brass. And I check the powder now and again, but like I said, once in a while, it's, you know, let's face it, this is a lot of plastic. You know, how accurate could it be? I like to look in there to make sure that there's powder. And it might be off a hair, but, you know, as long as they shoot, then we're good. We're only doing practice loads, you know. We're not We're not playing around trying to be like a speed demon or have hot loads or any of that crap. We're not worried about that. All we want to do is hit some steel, listen to it go dink, you know, and if it works, then good. As long as it cycles the gun, that's the key to the whole thing. Cycles the gun, bullet comes out safely, and hand loading could be okay. It doesn't have to be too dangerous. But, like I said before, you have to set all of these dies up one at a time, and I'll show you how that could be done too. Let me run this through just so you have an idea. Okay? So what you're going to do is you put your brass in here, and this can turn now. See? It's not engaged. So you can turn this on top. Make sure I'm doing what I'm doing here. You can turn this on top. Alright? And you're going to want to get it to where the primer is. So if for some reason you turn it too far, like if you go like this, and then you come back down and it moves, and you go, oh, I didn't put the primer in, you can turn it around. You know, you can go around again and start all over. Put that in, then put your primer. So I'd have to say that this is actually meeting my expectations as a press. I was doing 223 before, and I have a couple single stage presses over here. I have this big rock chucker, okay, and I have it set up. I have it set up with the sizing, decapping. Takes the primer out and sizes. Then I come over and I trim it to lint if it needs to be trimmed, okay. And then I also take out the military crimp, and I clean up the primer pockets. Take out, if I do trim it, I can take out the sharpness on the edges, and I check it in my gauge. And if it fits, everything fits properly, then I know I'm good, you know. And then I go from there, and I load up a whole tray. I loaded up a whole tray with the powder, and I used CFE 2223. And I think it was like 25.4 grains. I think the starting load in some books are like 25 or something, or 26 maybe. I'm a little under, but it's as long. I've been shooting them, and the 2 ARs are cycling the bullets no problem. So, you know, save a little bit of powder and it's working, and it's a soft load. It's not, the recoil's mild and a whole bit. And then I go from there to putting on tips. I put on tips. Okay, you know, there's a whole bunch of them. And you can see I loaded up a whole bunch. I have a whole bunch. 140, I believe. And then from there, I put the taper, or the crimping die in, which pinches. So then I just put it in there and run it through and watch how it cams over. Cams over, you can feel it. It's a feel thing. And then you'll check and you'll look, and right here there's a little like indentation, like a circle going around right where the grooves are in that bullet. So now I'm pinching that just right, and that one's good to go in the bucket. Do another one, I'll show you. Put her in there, come down, it'll cam over. You can feel that camming action, and then you'll check, and there's that little ring right where the grooves are, and each one is good to go. And I got to run through the whole batch of that, but I just wanted to show you actually the new addition to the classic turret press here, or whatever this thing is called. And believe it or not, I was lucky that I threw away something, because now my priming situation's really good. I mean, I don't have to really worry about it. It does a great job. And once you set this sucker up, it's really all about getting a rhythm. And you can do that a lot better when you're not talking. But that's what I have to do for the video here. And it's really a nice item to have. So for the, I guess it's about $300 or so, maybe a little bit more on Amazon. And you could find it cheaper, I'm sure, you know, but that's where I got mine. And then you have a finished 45 ACP that should go in the checker. Right flush, nice, not sticking out. It's the right length, and it works. And even though this is a semi-wad cutter, which means it's, you know, it's not a round nose, it's a squared off type of bullet, it should feed no problem. I haven't had any major problems most of the time. So thanks for watching. Hope you learned something out of this. If not, then I'm just a poor teacher. You know, you get what you pay for. And check me out next time. I'll maybe show you some more stuff. We'll see how it goes. I'd like to set up the next one I have here. My son has 40 Smith & Wesson. Let me show you what we got here. It's a good little bit to show you. And all I got, this is all Lee stuff, okay? It's all Lee. What I got here, and you'll see this, is the turret press 4-hole quick change turret, okay? So basically, they're all the same, okay? The only difference, and it will fit in that, it actually fits in there, okay? That's what you can't see, is this part here below the rim, okay? And it fits in there one way. And now I have Lee reloading dies, and what I've got are I got the sizer with the decapper. That gets screwed in and will have to be adjusted, okay? And that's yet to happen. Then I have a this is the powder one, okay? And so this part here comes off, okay? This gets screwed on next, okay? And that'll have to be sized, because not only does this, where the powder, you have to put the riser on this, screw that on, and then this whole powder dropper gets put on top of the riser, okay? But this thing also bells the case a little bit, just opens up the mouth a little bit to accept a bullet easier, get started better. So that's that one. Then this one is the bullet seating. And I don't know if you can see in there, but there's a little cap in there. That goes next, and you'll have to put that in the way to, according with the instructions, to get the right depth. And then you can change how much the bullet is in and out of the brass, okay? And then the next thing I got is, this is the taper crimp die, okay? This is the final stage where you put this in after the bullet is seated, okay? And you set just a little bit of a taper crimp to it, so that when the bullet gets in your gun, it doesn't have a problem. It doesn't stick. It'll slam the slide home fine and everything. In this whole setup, okay, comes a dipper thing for putting powder in. I never really used that, but it also has a shell holder for 40 Smith & Wesson, which of course I didn't have. But if you buy one of these kits, okay, it is the, I guess it's their carbide. It's the one that has the 3 dies in them, okay? And for pistol. you will be able to, it has a full length resizer, the expander die, and that's the one that the powder goes on, a bullet seating die, and of course you'll have to buy the taper crimp die separate, okay? But if you buy all this stuff for one caliber, if you want to do, 9mm, if you want to do 380, whatever, if you buy those and buy one of these shell holders, these round things, then when it's time to switch over calibers, all you do is you unscrew the riser, you screw it to that one, okay? Take that out and slide that in. And boom, you're ready to go with a different caliber. And if you don't touch any of these things, you're not going to have to fiddle around with it too much. You can start reloading right away. Now, you'd still have to check to make sure, nothing's changed and whatever. Well, you have to be somewhat cautious that something might have moved on you. But for the most part, all you do is you take that out, put this in. So I have here, that's 9mm. I got 45 ACP in the actual press, and now this is 40 Smith & Wesson. And as long as you keep buying dies and stuff, this is the way to go, guys. This is the way to go. I'll be honest with you. After I do the rest of these 45s, okay, I got the rest of this in here to do. I'm going to go ahead and switch over and start doing some 40 Smith & Wesson. I'm going to get it set up anyway, so that, when I'm ready to actually buy a whole bunch of tips and more powder or whatever, I'll be ready to go with it. I don't have to worry. I could just swap them in and out. To me, for the price, the way it works, it's probably your best bet. You could do everything on single stage presses and such. I did that for years, and it works. You just, you'll resize hundreds of rounds, then you'll go back and you'll bell hundreds of rounds, then you'll come back and you'll put primers and hundreds of rounds. You can do everything like that. It's just that, let's suppose, for example, you want to go to the range and you want to shoot 100 bullets. Well, I could tell you right now, if you use this system, in an hour's time, you'll have 100 bullets at a cost of, I don't know, Black Friday sales. Okay, because that's the only time you're going to buy bullets that cheap, as cheap as reloading. So it's going to take an hour's worth of your time to do 100 rounds, and it's going to take you the components. And I will tell you that, say for 9mm tips, I just got done pricing them. For 1,000 tips, it's about $90. Okay, a pound of powder, and I just bought this stuff here. Okay, this stuff here, this is a power pistol. It's more new to me. I've never used it before, and I'm struggling to find some loads for it because most of my books are old. But a pound of this was about $31, including tax. All right, and let me tell you, you're only going to use like a couple of grains, like that 700X. You're going to use like 5-6 grains, maybe. Okay, you're going to load up a ton for $30. Okay, probably 1,000 rounds of them. Okay, so you're in $90 and $30, $120. If you've got the brass already, if you got the brass or found some, or you could buy it too. And I don't even know. It's been a long time since I actually bought brass. Most of the stuff I've actually shot factory stuff and then just saved them. And then the tips, well, for my kids' sake, or for the primers, let me show you the primers. I just bought a box of these small rifle primers for $223. Okay, a whole brick. They call this a brick. All right, this brick goes for about, I don't know, $25 to $35. Oops. But that's basically what that goes for. And I got a mess here. All right, guys. So anyway, after these primers, You know, you pay like 30 some bucks. You add that all together, it's like $100 and maybe $50, okay, for all the components that you're going to need other than brass and your time. And 150 bucks for 1,000 rounds. I don't know, other than Black Friday, I don't know where you're going to make that up in cash, okay? So obviously reloading is the way to go. And if you buy the right stuff and get started in it, it could turn out to be a great bargain for you.